subset, and that was a night and day difference for pre-hospital to know that everybody was going to call a pediatric the same thing. So if you made a decision to ground transport a 17-year-old to the level 1 trauma center that was closest to you, you didn't get told on the phone halfway there, oh no, I'm sorry, we're considering that a pediatric, and now you have to travel 35 or 40 minutes by ground because you're no longer in a place where you can land a helicopter. So those type of things have real impact on the pre-hospital guys. So just remember that. I think it's great that we're looking at that. And then I'll switch over to the crying baby with the wet diaper thing. I think it's great some of the things you guys are looking at. I think it was an amazing presentation. It was nice seeing it all presented in one thing. Just a couple of things that always give me pause, and that is that there's a lot of things that go on in the subcommittee meetings that are not a part of the 4 charges of GETAC that are making the EMS and trauma system, or the EMS and acute healthcare system, stronger and better every day. And so just be careful of that. Collaboration, bringing people in, looking at things that never make it to this panel that those committees are working on that make us a stronger system every day. And then the other thing that always bothers me, although I can certainly understand why, because I don't like leaving my home on Tuesday at lunch and not coming back until Friday afternoon. We already have an issue. Jody mentioned it with the education committee. The EMS committee is the exact same. We cannot get the things that our stakeholders are asking us to get done in an hour and a half. And so stacking meetings on top and doing things like that is also problematic, because most EMS agencies don't have a trauma person and a cardiac person and a stroke person and an EMS person and an education person. They have the EMS director. And in a lot of RACs, that EMS director might be the RAC chair, so they need to be at trauma systems. They may have an issue with the pediatric committee, who knows what it is. But so I'm not opposed to change. I think it's great. Just realize that there's a lot of things going on that is making the system better that may not, that if we derail or stop, will actually make us weaker, even though we're meeting our charges better, if that makes sense. So anyway, just my 2 cents. Y'all have a great time, and I'll go sit down now so y'all can go home.
Thank you.
Unless you want to hear another number. I'm prepared.
Are you? Did you bring the music?
No, it's on the elevator.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'll just make a quick comment on Dudley's comment. It's important that everyone understands that the committees were created by the council. And the committees have done wonderful, amazing work, and we're not pushing that aside, and we're certainly not trying to do anything that would lessen stakeholder input or lessen the work of the committees. What we're trying to do is identify a process, and I'll just go there and say where the tail is wagging the dog. And so if there are things that are being brought into the committee for discussion, as a council, we should probably know about those because they do eventually get to us, but we're just talking about simply a process, the proper process for handling that information. And that's really what we've discussed as a council, not to prevent it, not to stop it, not to make it weak or anything, but what is the actual process so we can show somebody, here's what happens if you have issue X, here's where you need to go, here's how we're going to handle it. So Dudley, your comments are very valid. I just want to assure the stakeholders we're not trying to stop the information flow and the discussions because they are so good. Is there anybody else for public comment?
I just want to say one thing. I attend all those committee meetings before GETAC. I sit through every one of them. And I'm always amazed at the amount of hard work that's done at the committee level and how much y'all get done. Consolidation and change is never easy, but it's definitely any change that comes about, it's not because those committees are not doing stellar work. I mean, I am so impressed, and I'm the public member, so I just sit there as the public and listen to what y'all all do, and it's amazing, and I commend all of you for your hard work. Sometimes we have to make change whether we think that there's a problem or not. Sometimes things just need to be tightened up and consolidated.
Public comment?
Thank you, Chief. I compliment you. You've been one of the best probably the best public member I think we've ever had on GETAC. I've seen you at every one of our committees. I'm going to echo Dudley's comments. Your charges may not work. You may have a new vision. You may have a smaller sized footprint. The work that's getting pushed by the stakeholders into these subcommittees is going to keep happening. It'll happen somewhere.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, public comments closed. Next item is the review and list agenda items for the next meeting. What I have down is EMTF governance, the medical director's position paper, a discussion of the pediatric trauma definition, age limit. I also wrote down registry validation, and I'm not sure what I wrote that down about. Can anybody help me out?
There's the CQI process.
Oh, that's probably for Jory then. Okay, thank you. And then I also have down actually the geriatric definition as well, and the DWI issue for consideration, and then I have adopt injury prevention items, and I didn't get down what those specific items were other than things that have been worked on jointly by TTAF and Injury Prevention Committee. Is there anybody that can be more specific on that?
PowerPoint to all of the committee members, but they're very specific in there. What we did is we took the E-codes and went down through the E-codes and asked ourselves, we were looking for places where people already had something developed and opportunities to create CAN programs that everybody could take off the shelf and be able to educate the community.
Thank you.
I have a question about you put E-codes and you put categories. Why did you divide it out that way? What's the advantage of drilling down all the way to the E-codes versus just the categories of falls, motor vehicle accidents?
Well, if you look at it, we look for the top 5 E-codes and the top 4 most frequent. And so when you sort it, no matter which way you sort it, through categories or the top 5, what you're going to find is falls and motor vehicle crashes are the #1 killers in our community and the #1 reason that people are brought to the trauma centers. In addition to that, suicide has grown significantly in the state of Texas. And so we're really targeting, and if you look at the program or the injury prevention programs, we really targeted falls and the motor vehicle crash. Now, the motor vehicle crash can be broken down to the car, the commercial truck, the ATV, and so on. And we did do that if you look at the PowerPoint. And again, I'll send it to all of you so you can look at it where it's a little larger.
I guess the question in my mind for the agenda items, and I think get you and Jory together is having specific actionable items for GETAC. And so my question about for example, and I would just lump those geriatric and pediatric criteria. It's more than just age. It's just more than the age definition. It's basically specific criteria. Should those be lumped in with the overall rule changes? In other words, that GETAC is going to eventually approve?
Yes, that's what we're asking for. We have the level 3 trauma facility criteria that we have spent 6 months reviewing and coming back with recommendations, and the same with the level 4, as well as the administrative code. When you look at the data shows you that we have a significant problem in the state of Texas regarding geriatric trauma. And so we would like to add these criteria to the level 3 and the level 4 designation rules. In addition to that, there are many hospitals in the state of Texas that take care of pediatric trauma patients that are designated level 3, level 4, level 1, level 2. And we would like to add those criteria to the current document. The other thing is we believe that every level 1 and every level 2 should be held accountable to meet the level 3 criteria that's outlined, because the American College of Surgeons has some very stringent criteria for us, but it does not drill down to some of the issues that Texas has made very specific for our population. So we very much would like to have this committee, your council, review that and adopt that so that it goes forward in the rule process. The criteria, all of the criteria, and the criteria does define the age.
So should the agenda item be review and approval of, what's the number? What's our?
157.123.
157.1,
125. But
125?
you know,
Are we
what y'all have given us, Jory, we're going to incorporate into the draft.
Right.
And is that ready to be reviewed at the next
Oh,
meeting?
no, sir, it's not. What we've done is we've taken the suggestions from the committees that they've vetted through their committee process so that we can incorporate it into a draft document that will then go back through the committees again so they can see it again before it comes here to this council for review and action.
Okay. So Jory, I'm sorry to ask so many questions,
No, that's
things
fine.
that I know, so is the Trauma Systems Committee, is the goal for GTAC to review those two specific areas, pediatrics and geriatrics, and for us to give our general comment on that?
Yes. It is our understanding from the Trauma Systems Committee that everything we do has to flow through you to be approved. And your approval then takes it to the state for the state to consider.
So here's what I would recommend then for that. I would recommend just leaving it out of our hands for now, except to get comment like you would normally do. I would recommend incorporating that into
125.
125, that those just become part of those rules, and then they come through GTAC to be approved en masse when that's ready. That's what I think that would be smoother and lead to less talking.
Okay. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
As long as you guys agree to review it.
And then, so a couple of other things with respect to your, I think one of the things that you asked us to do was for us to write the governor or contact the governor to form a multidisciplinary task group for DWI.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
That could come from our chair?
Yes, sir. But I think the other thing, we don't know who's looking at this. I mean, I don't know how Texas cannot say this is a problem, a health care problem. There are more people dying from that than there are from the flu or any other disease in Texas.
Okay.
Any other questions? I think if you follow that analogy that you brought up, Dr. Stewart, the trauma registry validation piece needs to be integrated into the rules as well. So again, if you just agree to look at that, then we can wait for it to come back through the rule process. So the only two real items would be the injury prevention activity needs to, from your blessing, be sent back to the Injury Prevention Committee in collaboration. And certainly the two chairs can do that. We both live in Dallas. And then the one issue that really needs your action item is the DWI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to thank Jory and the Trauma Systems Committee for Jory specifically for her leadership with respect to trauma systems. They're really doing a lot of really good things.
All right, I don't have anything else. Do any council members have anything else for the agenda for next time? Did I leave anything off? Okay. Our next meeting date, I'll get with Director Guerrero and we will select it. Our next already known meeting date is May, somebody help me out, May 11th? May 11th. Okay. Any other comments from council? All right, then I will adjourn this meeting and remember love and respect for everyone on our journey together.